Ozark Geek here. Okay, here we go. One of the members had asked about how the antenna looked after we got it installed and so forth. So here's a short video on the antenna. I have this antenna, you can see right here, HF EDZ antenna. It's HF antenna set up as in an NVIS configuration, and that is on a 10-foot pole, freestanding. I just have the pole set and straight in the ground with an end cap on the bottom of it so I don't get dirt. And I've got an end cap on the top. This is a PVC pole, and inside it, to keep it strength, or give it strength, I put in a 10-foot piece of 1-inch conduit. So this is a 1.25 inch PVC. So it's fairly strong. The antenna has a clamp on the back of it that I've got going around the back side of the mast. Let's see if I can focus on that. You can see it. Okay. And then it's got the 4 leads that come off in 4 different directions. They go down in different angles, slightly different angles because of the length of the wires. I've got little orange ties on them so that I can see it and the dog can see where the wire goes. Keep it off the ground. And I've got the antenna line coming down and going over into the trailer. Right now things are kind of a mess as far as wiring concerned. I got everything connected, but as you can see, I've got multiple antennas set up. Over in the tree over here, I've got a dual band J pole hanging in the edge of the tree. Coming over here, here's a wideband dipole that I'm going to use for SDR and possibly APRS use. I put a meter on it and found out it is resident in several of the HF bands, as well as 2 meter and 440. I have a new vertical up here, which is 2 meter, 220 and 440. And then below it, I've got my HF line, which is an end fed that runs 130 feet across to some trees up in the way. And I've got all of them come down. I've got a ground rod in and a grounding set up, so it's fully grounded. And then it goes into the radio equipment inside. And I've got everything connected. Haven't done a lot as far as for trying to get on the air yet, because I'm only doing this in my spare time. I've got a spare mount that I haven't used yet. Some of you guys have seen these before, where this is a weight mount, and you put some sort of a weight on the end of it, and you got a pipe here for a mast to go in, and that'll hold up to an 1.5 inch mast. Since my trailer is going to be, tires are going to be propped up and setting on the ground, haven't figured out a use for it or how I'm going to mount it as yet. Again, this is all fluid, in transition, and subject to change. But inside, I currently have a Ten-Tec Paragon 585 HF radio. I've got a Yaesu FT736 multi-band that has 6 meter, 2 meter, 440 and 1.2 gig. I got another antenna that I just took down. I may put it back up and see if it's resonant. Hang on a second. Mossy, get over here. And then I've got two 2 meter 440 radios that are going to be used for APRS, the SDR, and possible crossband configuration. So that's kind of the radio setup at the moment. I've got everything wired in, but not necessarily connected into the back of the trailer. And the pallets you see there are part of another project that I'm going to use for developing for putting skirting around the trailer. I've already got everything I need, I believe, ordered, and I'm waiting on some parts to come in, and then I can put skirting up. And there's another video on what I'm going to use for the skirting. You guys can take a look at that, and as I get that project going, I should have the parts in before the end of the month, probably within 2 weeks. They're coming from England. So as soon as I get those in, I'll start that project. But anyway, that's where we're at right now. That's my dog, Masse. That she doesn't like eating grass, but she eats it. All right, stop that. Okay, good girl. All right, shalom. We'll see you later. Ozark Geek out. Looks like. All right, I'll start here. Ozark Geek here again. Thought I'd show you guys my radio setup. It's kind of compact. I got very limited room here, so as I said on the antenna system outside, I have a Ten-Tec Paragon 585 HF radio. It's got full capacity tuning from 100 to 30 megahertz, or 100 megahertz, whatever. It's like 100 of a megahertz. Power supply for it. Right above it, I've got the Yaesu FT736R radio and speaker. The Yaesu has a 6 meter, 2 meter, 440 and 1.2 gigahertz module. Whenever I can get around to afford it, I'd love to trade the 1.2 gig for a 220 module. But that'll be somewhere down the road. Right above that, in this area right here, I have a LDG AT200 Pro 2 auto tuner that is set up with the HF radio. I've got both antennas, HF antennas outside, the NVIS and a 130-foot end-fed antenna connected into this, so that will take care of the switching antennas and so forth. And then in the upper left corner, I've got a Yaesu 8900R 2 meter 440 radio, and then I've got a KYT 8900 radio. Both of those are 2 meter 440. I'll be using those with APRS, SDR, and possible just general 2 meter 440 coverage when I'm monitoring other stuff. So this gives me quite a range. Just as a note for you guys, my Yaesu FT736R is a 100 watt radio, and I was able to do a QSO with another ham. I'm in northwest Arkansas, and he was in central Arkansas by north of Little Rock, and we hit one repeater that was between us at about 70 miles from me, and a little more for him, but we ended up, or no, I guess it was 80 miles. We calculated the long straight line distance at 174 miles off of just the one repeater. He was in a mobile and I was using this, so we were able to do the coverage, and that what got me interested in the NVIS, to be able to do a wide area coverage. So we've got one radio, one antenna, without using repeaters, that we could cover a state or a statewide area with. So anyway, that's my system. I've still got some tuning to do on it for performance before I get a chance to really get into using it. But that's the radio system so far. You guys asked about. You guys have fun, and leave any questions. Subscribe if you like, and we'll go from there. All right, Ozark Geek out. 73s.